From the roots up, CIUT 89.5 FM. Toronto.
Listening to CIUT 89.5 FM. This is Donna G, and you're listening to The More the Merrier on CIUT 89.5 FM. I'm here with you till 2 o'clock today, and today's show is devoted exclusively to the anthology City Voices, and I'll be joined by several writers who've contributed to this anthology: Jason Mahogany, Neale Kimmel, Colleen Osborn, Marcia Johnson, Jordon Hall's work being read by Devin, Upham, an actor, and I'll also be joined by Jenna Harris, who's the editor-in-chief of City Voices. So keep it locked to 89.5 FM to hear this diverse collection of Canadian writers.
Ship of fools seldom docks and never drops the anchor. Telegraphs overseas, a letter to the Chancellor. Wind, don't lead me down, don't lead me down. Humble beast of the open seas, the galleys rolling steady. Amplified by the stony underbelly. Don't fail me now, don't fail me now. Open seas on.
You're listening to CIUT 89.5 FM. This is Donna G, and sorry about the delay in starting the show. We had a bit of a technical difficulty, but it has been solved, and I'm at the controls, and in studio with me right now is Jason Mahogany and Jenna Harris. And Jenna is the editor-in-chief of City Voices, and Jason is one of the featured writers in that anthology. I want to welcome Jenna. First of all, welcome Jenna back to the show. She was here in the role of producer for TIC, which was at this year's Toronto Fringe Festival. So Jenna, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
And Jason, welcome.
Thanks. Whoa.
It's interesting that actually, Jenna, last week I was out of town, but I decided to edit together my Fringe interview. So it's in the summer I had the 5-minute Fringe showcase, and I had people. Ooh, that was. We're getting some feedback there. Let me check that out. So we'll go to a piece of music, and I'll check that out and come back because I want everything to sound wonderful. So we're going to be satisfied when we come back. So here is "Satisfied" by Bruce Peninsula.
Put your hands up,
And we are back. Problem is solved. And as I was saying to Jenna, last week I edited together the interviews from my 5-minute Fringe show. And because I thought people should hear them again and realize that, you know, we do have working artists in the city and people need to hear what they've done so that if their name pops up again, then people can say, oh, yes, you know, we heard them on The More the Merrier. And so I just wanted to keep you guys, the spirit of you and your work going. So it was a coincidence that you contacted me right after. And after I'd done the recording, and you contacted me about City Voices. So thank you for contacting me.
My pleasure. Thank you for having us on.
So City Voices, tell me how this idea started percolating, or when this idea started percolating.
Sure. The idea sort of came about, I guess, about a year ago. And it came out of two things. I think, first of all, selfishly, a bit of my, I guess, frustration over trying to get my own work out there and looking at the ways to do that and realizing that perhaps there's more that can be done to showcase the work of local writers. And the other one was, after moving to Toronto about 6 years beforehand, I realized not only did I know a lot of people in this community, which was great, and I was really happy for that, but I think, again, sort of part of that frustration was realizing how many emerging writers I knew that were also finding it difficult to get their writing out there. And so I was trying to think of a project that could be done that could showcase the work of a lot of writers and also something that is potentially tangible. I think one of the things with theater, the part of it that's so great is that you can have these live performances and things can pop up everywhere, but you don't end up with anything that's super tangible that you can take away other than a poster or postcard, which are lovely. But so to find some way that we could have a lasting record of these writers' work. So that's where the idea originally came from.
Yeah, exactly, because I thought the same thing. I mean, theater in general is pretty ephemeral, most of it anyway. Mm. But I thought, when I was listening to the Fringe shows, I thought, wow, I wish there was a way to capture all these plays. Absolutely. Because they're so exciting and the actors are so excited about talking about, you know, their upcoming works. And so I love the idea of this anthology.
Thank you.
How long was it in the works?
So we did originally start out a year ago. It took probably about 5 or 6 months for the idea stage. So it's myself along with two other editors, Neale and Renate Rubenstein, both emerging writers, both very different writing styles as well. So I thought that would be great. And you know, it took us a little while to solidify what exactly this would be and the wording we wanted to put out there and how we wanted to get the word out to people. And but it wasn't until, I would say, April that we actually put it out there. We launched our campaign for submissions. We had an open call for submissions starting in April. We had that open for about 2 months, and we really tried to get the word out there as much as possible. What we wanted with this was a diversity of writers. So not just playwrights, but anyone who was a writer at any stage of their career. Our goal was to read these blind so that we didn't know who had written them, and that really what we were choosing was the work itself to create this diverse anthology. So we put that out in April. We got 150 submissions that we then selected from, and the rest of it has been editing and putting it together and designing the book that we picked up this morning.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So how many writers are featured in the anthology?
So we have a total of 28 writers and 29 monologues.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So do you remember who your first selection was?
Oh, our first selection. That's a good question. I actually don't. We read them in order, but I don't remember who our first official was. I remember we made lists and then went back to them and looked over, but you know what? I don't actually remember.
Okay.
They now, I think, for all of us have become this collection. Even thinking of them individually for us is sometimes difficult because we see them as, when we laid out this piece, it actually is very much a journey. It goes from one piece to the next, and so we're not divided up into themes or gender or anything like that. And so I think now the three of us really feel like this book as a whole and the writers' works together are the anthology, are the journey. So it's actually a little difficult for me to think of them piecemeal.
So what is the journey that people are being taken on?
For us, I would say it's It's a journey about the voices who are speaking now in Toronto in 2012. The pieces didn't have to be specifically set in Toronto or about Toronto, but we wanted to hear the work and the voices that are currently in the city and talking. And so the pieces at the beginning, we start off with something that's a little bit more tangible. Actually, we start off with Jason's piece, so that works out really well. So you get to hear it, that we felt like was set in Toronto and very much felt like it was here on the streets of our city. And as it goes, it takes you through different worlds, different places, different ages, and ends up with one that is also set on the streets of Toronto, but a piece that is more poetic and not as structured in terms of theater, in terms of a theater monologue.
Okay. So Jason Mahogany is the first writer in the anthology. Now, Jason, you and I were chatting before the show, and the whole idea of a selection process, you've already been through that. First at the Theatre School of Canada, and you were, how many were selected in that program?
2.
Right, and you were one of 2 selected.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your experience at Juilliard.
It's funny because it was I had just applied there. I was just shortlisted, so I was like final 11 for 4 spots, and it was a really fun process. I got a chance to interview with that school and meet a lot of great artists, and meet a playwright who's Canadian actually, who's really kind of blowing up over there right now, named David West Reed. And get a sense of what it'd be like to create theater there. And apparently it is a great place to sort of be a young playwright. So it was just basically I treated it as a learning experience, and it was really fun. But yeah, I mean, it was just fun times.
And are you going to keep trying till you...
They keep telling me to keep trying, and then I keep saying, yo, I'll try, but like, what can I do differently? And they're like, yo, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, but I didn't get in by doing that. Like, I'm not going to do what I did last time. I didn't get in. So what I'm doing this time is I'm just doing something completely different. My cover letter is about me sitting in a tree.
Okay.
And like watching people from a tree. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't care anymore. Like, read this cover letter about me in a tree. And you think I'm joking, but I'm totally serious. It's like
an audition process, right? You never know why you don't get a role.
Oh, that's true. Like, you know, it's about fit, and it's about, you know, the right combination of people. And I think that, you know, this is just going to be sort of my way of just, you know what, I'm going to try and be myself now. I'm not going to like write anything sort of like I'm going to try to get in. I'm just going to like just write something where it's like, yeah, man, that me sitting in a tree actually happened. Mm-hmm. Man, I've been staying on this thread for a long time. So I'm going to stop right now.
Okay. So the piece that you're going to read for us is called Emma.
Yeah.
How is Emma different from all the other dark pieces that you're known for? You
know, it's funny that I'm known for dark writing because I'm a delight. I think so. I don't know. Like, I smile a lot. Maybe it's because I'm just hiding something. But it was a contribution that I made to a collective piece called Swoon, and it's about swooning. It's about moments of desire, and it's about sort of falling in love. So that's sort of, and it was like, you know, it was last summer, so like, you know, I was like falling in love with everyone.
Okay.
So like, you know, when you hear this, girl, you know who you are. I can't believe I did that, but I'm happy that I did. I've always wanted to do that on the radio.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is Jason Mahogany reading his piece, Emma, from the City Voices anthology.
Every morning, I go into the second cup and I get a soy latte. The guy who runs the cafe know me. I walk in, and the bigger guy who mans the cash always asks, soy? And I nod, yes. And then he looks at me with these wonderful, sparkling eyes, and I think to myself, I could probably love you if you were a little bit slimmer. I know, it's a horrible thought, but if there's any place I can be honest, it's in my head, you know? There was one day when I was paying and our hands touched when I handed him my $5 bill. I looked at him and his face turned beet red. This made me smile. It was probably the most attention he's ever gotten from a girl, and I know that it meant a lot to him, and it felt nice to be a part of someone's day in that way, you know? With a look, make them feel like maybe, just maybe, this person could love me. I looked at him and said, keep the change. He said it was $5.32. I should have known that. I step outside, holding my soy latte. It's raining. No, more than rain. The clouds are falling from the sky, I think. Everything just falling from heaven. Angels, demons, souls. Needless to say, my umbrella is getting decimated. I'm bored and wet And I look up, and across the street, I see... Hello. Your umbrella is decimated too, and you're standing there, soaking wet in your brown suit. You're wearing a green tie, and I think to myself, he has a sense of humor, this one. You look like an Andrew, or a James. It would be nice if you were named Michael, because it's a soft name, and I sound really sexy when I say it. Michael. I can see your eyes. Even from across the street, they're like these little green jewels that I want to steal, and I think that it would be nice if they were mine. I look at you, and just like that, I see us on our first date. I'm holding flowers, and you're making me soup, and I think it's the most random thing ever. You have a towel over your shoulder, and you're telling me about all the ingredients you're using, and I have no idea what you're saying, but I just watch your mouth move every time you say a food item. Onions, garlic, celery, carrots, tomatoes, chickpeas. I swear that with every vegetable, my heart grows bigger, fuller, like it's an environmental bag, and we're at the metro, and you're filling it with vegetables and love, and my big heart is just sinking into my stomach, making me stand there, my heart sticking out of my belly. And is that what love looks like? A cute little brunette with a pot belly? I know that when the light turns green and I walk towards you and we meet right in the middle of the street, we're going to fall in love. Look at me. Do you see me? I think you see me. Can you hear my heart singing a song? Listen, do you hear it? And I step out. No, I run out. I need to get there. I need to run to the future. Watch me run. Watch me fly. Look at me, Michael. Look at me. I want to crash into you. I go. I run. And I think to myself, everything is going to begin right now.
Wow. Wow. I like how you choose the name, Michael, because I like how that sounds. That's a wonderful piece.
Thanks.
Great. So, you mentioned that it's from Swoon.
Yeah.
Was that also a collection that people can buy, or was it just?
No, it was that's one of the things about theater. Just we did the show, and then the show is not. It's gone. It just exists in our memories.
Mm-hmm. And now in City
and
Voices.
now in City Voices, like a couple of the pieces are from Swoon. I've noticed in City Voices, so it's exciting.
That's fantastic. Jenna, thank you for choosing Jason's work and for capturing Swoon.
I know. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Amazing.
So up next, we have Neale Kimmel, and we'll hear from her in a few minutes as she takes her place at the microphone. So keep it locked to 89.5 FM, and here's some more Kia Kaderi with Hands Up.
Put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up. So many people are lost in themselves in these times. I find myself speaking about it in rhyme. This form of expression engages in the subliminal. This words that come to my mind are connecting through the electrical, invisible power, programming your brainwaves, creating hyperlinks that take me into space. My soul goes searching, downloading or retransmitting emotion, allocating information, survive the Y2K confusion. I get by from the high state of mind who try to cope, getting healer for my soul, no joke. Yes, I get by from the high state of mind who try to cope, getting healer for my soul, no joke. Put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up. Check it, read, talk, walking on the front line, stepping forward to a higher state of mind, highest side of my life, too damn hot, the grass is always greener on the other side. You seek an absolution, better look inside. Comic resolution is a state of mind, celebrate the good time. Kind people spread the words online, any way you can, let the rhyme reign sublime. Deconstruction of thought, I think not. Consecration to the one you forgot. My perspective, I let you know with a straight shot, ready or not, we'll hit a rock. And I fly from the high state of mind who try to cope, getting healer for my soul, no joke. Yes, I get fly from the high state of mind who try to cope, getting healer for my soul, no joke. Put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, let me see you put your hands up. Thought patterns cannot be interfered with when writing rhymes to hand is an instrument, moving pens, making lines. So the particular moment in time is forever recorded for generation Y and Z to research and further document. People will study the rhymes of the poets, teaching knowledge, breaking down the elements of time, patterns, and brain processes. Just composing and arranging has already been perfected in the mind. I'm remembering information, traveling it beyond the speed of light. Writing constant progressions and lessons and stories, and if I'm forgetting to speak only to inform the listeners ready to hear the blessings I'm getting. And want to spread through positive communication, stimulating senses to absorb education. It's like fire in the high speed of mind and try to cope. Getting in for my soul, no joke. Yes, I get fire in the high speed of mind and try to cope. Getting in for my soul, no joke. Yes, I get fire in the high speed of mind and try to cope. Getting in for my soul, no joke. Yes, I get fire in the high speed of mind and try to cope. Getting in for my soul, no joke. Put your hands up, put your hands up. Let me see you put your hands up. Put your hands up, put your hands up. Let me see you put your hands up. Put your hands up, put your hands up. Let me see you put your hands up. Put your hands up, put your hands up. Let me see you put your hands up. Let me see you put your hands up.
You're listening to CIUT 89.5 FM. This is Donna G, continuing with the various artists from the anthology City Voices. And joining us in studio now are Neale Kimmel and Colleen Osborn. And ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Colleen?
Oh, yeah.
Are you not
Thank
happy
you.
to
No,
be
no, I'm not happy. I'm just shy.
This is going to be really good, people.
See, people never expect writers to be shy.
Yeah, I'm not an actor.
It's like, so, but, we think of writers as being so, out there and, studying people, and so they wouldn't be, too shy. But,
If this was at a bar, it would be a different story.
oh, we should have gotten you a drink. That's what we did wrong.
Do you have white wine?
Okay. So let's talk quickly about your individual journeys to this anthology. Neale, what was it like was it a call or an email from Jenna that told you were selected?
For me, it was an email, and I got it. I was actually over at a friend's house, and we were packing her up to move to Sudbury, and I remember getting it, and the first paragraph was a little ambiguous, and I was ready to scroll down and get we appreciate that you submitted, but not this time. And it didn't say that at all. It actually said that they were excited to have my piece, be involved. And we did some squealing and jumping, and it was really exciting.
Okay. And Colleen, email or telephone call?
Email, and I was really excited as well.
Okay. And have you had works in anthologies before?
Never. No, this is a first for me.
No, me either.
Okay. And Colleen, how long have you been writing?
Oh, since I was an angsty teenager, probably.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what made you keep going? Because a lot of times teenagers give up.
I think a long time ago I dated a guy who was a playwright, and I'm a bit of a competitive person, so I was like, well, whatever you can do. So I started writing for theater.
Okay. So let's thank that boyfriend.
Absolutely.
He got you started. So Neale, how long have you been writing?
I have been writing plays for probably about 3 years. I was an awkward teenager, angsty a little bit as well, and I chose the road of acting and exploring theatre in that way, and went to theatre school. And then when I graduated, had a couple of years of not so many auditions and lots of working in bars, and I kind of wanted to create theatre, and there weren't as many opportunities as I had hoped in the acting world, so I kind of took control and wanted to create work for myself and my friends, and started writing and producing that way.
Okay. So why don't we start with Neale, your work, Frances?
Sure.
Tell us about Frances.
Frances is a hilarious, outgoing, carefree lady who happens to find herself heartbroken and living on the couch of her younger sister, surrounded by salt and vinegar chips and old Kleenexes. And when we find her, she has just had a life moment that brings her out of this depression.
Okay. So let's hear Frances by Neale Kimmel.
Oh, Mary Beth, I have had a most profound life moment. Believe me, I did not want to leave the house today. My first thought when I opened my eyes, as it has been every morning for the past 3.5 months, was, I wonder what Rick is going to be doing today. Not, I wonder what Francis is going to be doing today, but what is my cheating ex-fiancé going to be doing today? What tramp is he eating his breakfast with this morning? But today, I had to go out. I had to. I had my yearly appointment, to get my lady parts checked. And even though they're not in service right now, I still know it's a very important thing to do. You know that too, right? Mary Beth, you gotta go once a year. Things can happen down there even if you don't mean them to, and it's better to know about any problems than to let them get out of control. You remember that cauliflower picture from health class? Well, I know it's a terrible thing to think about, but the picture is so horrific so it can really make an impact. I'd be very happy to never find any cauliflower on my Yahoo. Plus, I'd been eating so many salt and vinegar chips, I was a little worried I might have pickled some of my insides. So, after lying there, picturing Rick eating his scrambled eggs and bacon with some floozy, I got myself out of bed and I went to the gynecologist, Dr. Whitfield. Do you know her? No matter. So, I'm lying there on the table with my little backless dressy thing hiked up and my legs at 10 and 2. And she puts in the speculum. It's uncomfortable. It always is. But then she asks me if I'm still sexually active with one monogamous partner. And out of nowhere, it happens. The moment of instant tears. I'm totally fine and then full-on crying. But I try my darndest to suppress it because the situation is uncomfortable enough as it is, and crying while half naked is never ideal. So I'm flat on my back, choking back the tears, and I say, no. Now, I guess my voice must have cracked or something, because I know she has a pretty obstructed view from where she was. But she sits up and looks at me for a minute, and then goes back to work. But the floodgates, they just burst, and I'm lying there with this stranger looking for cauliflowers in my privates, and I just cry, tears streaming everywhere. I just can't hold it in. And I start trying to talk through the heaves, and no, I say, I am not sexually active with one monogamous partner because my fiancé dumped me. We were living together and we loved each other, and he dumped me out of nowhere. And then she stops whatever in the hell she's doing down there, and she wheels her little chair up to my head, and she says to me in a very calm voice, she says, I'm sorry to hear that, Francis, which was nice. But then she gives me a box of Kleenex and says, Francis, my husband just left me too. He died of lung cancer in November. And then she says, I tried to convince him to stop, but he wouldn't. So it's kind of like he dumped me for cigarettes. And then she starts to cry. So I give her back the box of Kleenex. She's crying, I'm crying, we're both of us, 2 women crying and coming together over men who decided that we weren't enough for them. In a tiny white room, one half undressed and the other wearing latex gloves. It was nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can see some of the journey of the anthology. So very nice. So up next, I want to make sure I get everybody in. So Colleen, your turn at the microphone, and you're going to be reading If. So tell us a little bit about If, and then you can launch right in.
Okay. If is taken from a play put on this summer called Botched, and it's kind of an absurd, very dark play about abortion. So this is kind of a dark monologue compared to but it's still at like a clinic. So sure. So the character Julie is in a bad situation. She is at the clinic and about to get an abortion. So I'm not an actor. I'm going to read. Okay. Okay. If this were some TV drama, they would have me flip-flop on what to do for the first half of the show, then decide to go through with it to show a liberal mindset. But right in the last 2 minutes, I would miscarry in the nick of time in order not to lower the ratings. If this were a movie, I couldn't go through with it, mostly because the film would be over in 15 minutes, but I would either find a really nice couple to adopt or have a change of heart during a magical montage, me setting up the crib, cut to some breast pump hijinks, cut to my tummy getting bigger, someone who loves me puts their hand on it, talks to it. If this were performance art or theater, there'd be a hanger. A lot of hangers, actually. A casket full of them. And I'd be in that casket, too. Or maybe something more absurd, like a single stupid egg. I wish I were a seahorse. I wish guys were seahorses. Then they'd have to make the big decision. And I don't mean the big decision of it being legal or not. They already seem to have their finger on that button. It would just be a lot less complicated if we were seahorses, you know? Do you think they feel emasculated around other sea creatures? I don't know. I just know I made my choice already, and it's too late. I pissed on a stick, and I don't want to get stuck. And he agreed. Woman's choice, your choice. Whatever you choose to do, I can drive you. I decided to go alone. So I wait in this gown, in this clinic, in this room full of women, obviously no kids, obviously no men, obviously all here for the same reason. There's Miss Business filling up her day planner, always on the job, and that one keeps digging in her bag looking for something, but I'll never know what. And there's a scared-looking tween, keeping to herself, and oh yeah, me. If there's just only something I could wake up from, another one of my nightmares, roll over and say, buddy, no more pulling out, your gun's too trigger-happy. If only, eh? Prepped and ready, one at a time, open, extract, next. One by one, we rejoin in the recovery loungers, clutching our cookies and our barf bags. We are given the option of a sonogram. We all say no. Except the really young girl. She refuses at first and leaves, but comes back 5 minutes later asking for it. I imagine her framing it, then enhancing the fetus over the years with age progression like those missing children ads. I take her hand in mine and I say to this little girl, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Okay, I don't really do that. But wouldn't it be nice if I did? Because now we all have something in common, something to talk about. Like, well, that was different. How are you doing? Do we have a choice now to be anything but okay? You there. What are you thinking? The doctors seem nice. Don't you all agree? In this shared moment, we collectively get it, but we don't say anything at all.
And that is Colleen Osborn reading from If. And Colleen, you had nothing to worry about.
I know. I was like, where's this actor coming from?
I channeled the actor who played it in the summer. I didn't even do a proofread just now. I was just like, I'm going to be Hannah. I'm going to be Hannah.
So who is the actress who played it?
Hannah Drew. She was amazing.
And it showcased at?
The Fringe in the summer, Theatre Passe Muraille.
Okay.
And it's going to be rewritten and showcased again in the Ottawa Fringe this coming summer.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. So wonderful job. And thank you to Neale for reading her piece, Francis. And you just heard from Neale Kimmel, read from Francis, and Colleen Osborn, If. So continuing the journey of City Voices, up next we will have Marcia Johnson and Jordon Hall's piece, which is being read by Devin Upham. And you're listening to CIUT 89.5 FM, and more with City Voices when we come back after this tune. We are continuing with City Voices, And City Voices is an anthology of monologues by Toronto artists. And we've heard from a few of the selected artists so far. We heard from Jason Mahogany, Neale, Kimmel, and Colleen Osborn. And joining me in studio now is Marcia Johnson and Devin Upham. And Devin will be reading a piece by Jordon Hall. And just a heads up that Jordon Hall's piece does contain a little bit of swearing. So just to give you the heads up on that. Nothing too extreme, nothing you haven't heard before, but just in case there's some children wandering by, just to let you know. And they probably won't even notice unless you mention it. So here we go now. And welcome, Marcia, and welcome, Devin.
Thank you.
To CIUT. And Marcia, your piece is called Jumping Ship.
Yes.
What's it about?
Well, it's inspired by the story between my great-grandparents. He was a Scottish sailor who jumped ship in Jamaica and fell in love with my great-grandmother and got disowned by his family back in Scotland. And I've just always imagined what their first meeting would be like and how they got together and stayed together.
And do you have any sort of written documents or that they may have left, or is it totally imaginary?
I do have some factual information, but, I'll just have to imagine what their private moments were like.
Right. Any stories told down through the ages?
Well, I know more about his brother who ended up coming over from Scotland. Once the two of them started to be very successful in their different businesses, the family kind of softened. And this one brother came over and really liked Jamaica. And he got into the rum a bit too much. He's who my father refers to as Uncle Ned, who ended up drinking away a lot of the family's land as to pay off his bar tabs.
Okay. All right. So this is Marcia Johnson reading from Jumping Ship.
Now, this is from the point of view of Audrey. She's talking to Jamie, her lover. I don't know if I believe in God. If he does exist, I'd like him to explain why my mother is dead and my father is alive. Anyone who knew the two of them must think it. Why her? What could the greater purpose possibly be? If he exists, I'm angry with him. Very, very angry. But I love church. Mama and I would put on our matching dresses and white gloves. We would walk hand in hand. When the boys came along, we carried them until they could walk hand in hand too. We would meet the rest of the faithful on the way to the Sabbatarian church. All the Baptists and Mission Church members had learned to stay off the path on late Saturday mornings or risk getting lectures from my father or other church elders. But Papa didn't walk with us. He got there earlier for prayers. He sat at the front of the church during the sermon. I loved standing and singing hymns with Mama. In church, Papa was kind and quiet. If people said, "What a lovely daughter you have," he would say, "Thank you, God has blessed us." Once a week, my father was guaranteed to be kind, quiet, and nice to me. Mama was happy at church, too. She did not have to make peace. Peace was already there. Sunday, he spent the whole day fishing, and we knew what the night would bring. I and sometimes the boys would bring food to him down the road. Mama said it was better if he didn't drink on an empty stomach. When he came home that night, it would be the start of another week of terror. The kind Saturday man was gone. So, Jamie, please believe me when I tell you that if you come home drunk again, it will be the last time you come home to me. I will not wait to see if you are different from him. I will not. Do you understand?
And that is Marcia Johnson reading from her piece Jumping Ship, which is part of City Voices, a book of monologues by Toronto artists. And coming up next, thank you so much, Marcia.
Oh, you're welcome.
Is that where it ends, or is there a longer piece to your work?
It's a play with several characters set in the 19th century. It starts with their meeting on the beach when he has leave from the ship, and she's cooking some traditional food that he's never tasted before. And she takes pity on him when he gets sunstroke because he's not used to that kind of sun back in Scotland.
Definitely. Yeah. So, Jumping Ship is the name of the play.
Yes,
so,
it's a work in progress.
Oh, it's a work in... You better finish.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
If any benefactors are listening, I'd be happy to take your money so I can focus on it exclusively.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see where that's going. Okay, so thank you, Marcia. And up next, we have Devin Upham. And Devin is reading from Jordon Hall's piece, Poison Candy Hearts.
The bloodstain didn't come out. I tried soap and salt and hydrogen peroxide. I soaked and scrubbed. The red feathered, faded, and eventually I couldn't find the outline of the stain. Victory. Guess not, because when I arrive at the cafe, Amber's eyes flick right to my collar, and I know she can see some discoloration. What if that'll count against me? She looks healthy, this girl, Amber, like she drinks wheatgrass smoothies and goes to Pilates and remembers to floss. Blind date jackpot. Duncan? She looks me up and down. Can she see it? Not the stain on the collar of my favorite shirt, but the dissipation in the eyes, the dark skin under my eyes, cynicism in the lines around my mouth, the dysfunctional fallout of doomed romance leaking from my skin, invisible and toxic as a fatal dose of radiation. You're not what I expected. She smiles a big white smile. I know exactly what you mean, I say. Charlie, my ex, loved nature programs. She'd flop on the couch with a bowl of popcorn and crunch and smack while fishing spiders lunged after tadpoles, and hyenas cut the young elephants away from the herd. Better than a movie, she'd say. No bitching about morality. It is what it is. If you sat down beside her, she'd growl and nip at your fingers and ears with carnivorous glee until you had to tackle her into the couch cushions. Amber orders a mochaccino. I wonder what food and beverage selection will telegraph normal. Black coffee? Grilled sandwich? Troy says you're getting over a breakup. Working at it, I shrug. I will assign no blame, tell no stories. I won't even think her name for fear of what it might summon up. Amber fiddles with the foam of her drink and blushes neck to hairline. Sorry, I know we're not supposed to talk about that. Unhealthy. This girl with the big brown eyes has never started a bar fight. She's never poisoned anyone's plants or pets. As compared to what, I ask? I don't know what I thought love was before Charlie. Some sugary feelings full of hearts and flowers and other shit you'd find in a box of Lucky Charms, maybe. This is what I know now. Love is a derailed train that smashes into you and drags you for miles. Love is gangrene, and even if you amputate in time, there are still pieces you will never get back. Love is a rusty bear trap, a grease fire, a fucking swarm of piranha. The first time I told Charlie I loved her, she said, "Break my heart and I'll hit you with my car." And I laughed at the serious expression on her heart-shaped face. "I'm not joking," she said. Amber loops her arm through mine while I walk her home. This close, the bitter chocolate smell of the mochaccino rises off her skin. She's telling me her secrets for getting on with your life. I just reimagine myself, she says. New haircut, new clothes, new friends. Get rid of all the things you hate about yourself. Clean slate. Is that easy? No, you feel like a fraud for months, but then one day, you don't. She pulls free and spins in the street lamp's orange cast-off. This, she gestures to herself, is the product of some serious effort. I laugh, but when we cross each street, I check the faces of the stopped drivers, just in case. Our last breakup, Charlie hit me in the face with the DVD player. That sounds bad. I was, however, breaking in through the bedroom window. Charlie'd locked me out 4 hours before. Instead of answering my call, she put on some documentary about rabbit farming, a soundscape of high-pitched, desperate squealing. When I busted in the window, Charlie started yelling too, and I was pretty much planning on putting her head into the television just so that everything would shut up. These are not thoughts normal people have. The next thing I remember, I was on my back under the window, gasping and flopping on the lawn like a fish in a floor of a boat, nose blood trickling down my cheek and soaking into my collar of my shirt. In the emergency room, waiting for the doctor to set my nose, I told Charlie that we were through. We're bad for each other. Charlie gave me an upside-down shrug from where she'd flopped into the exam table. It is what it is, Dee. What if I don't want it to be? She propped herself up on an elbow. There was a fine dust of my blood on her face and hands. Good luck with that, she said. At her door, right before the goodnight kiss, Amber finally asks about the stain. She's pressed up close to all warm girl weight. I tell her I cut myself shaving, then I shake her hand and wish her good luck. It is what it is. Somewhere in the dark, trains are picking up speed, limbs are being amputated, piranhas are peeling flesh away from bones. Charlie, 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 I think. Nothing happens, but just you wait.
Well, we'll all have to wait and see what happens. And thank you so much, Devin, for reading from Jordon Hall's work.
My pleasure.
And Jenna.
Yes.
Please tell us where people can hear more and also buy the book.
Absolutely. So we are launching this book on Wednesday, December 19th. So it's this Wednesday at Buddies and Bad Times Theater. We're going to start off the evening with a reception from 7 to 8 o'clock when you can come, meet our amazing writers, interact with them, maybe grab an autograph or two, and we'll be selling the books then. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll have a handful of performances, and then it will turn into a party. We have a DJ that's all set for the evening. After that, books at this point in time can be purchased at Theater Books, Tarragon Theater, as well as Glad Day Books, or via our website and through Amazon.ca.
And the website is cityvoices.ca.
Exactly.
www.cityvoices.ca. How much is the book?
It's $15 or $14.95, I should say.
Okay.
Bargain.
Will you have some on sale during the reading?
During this Wednesday, absolutely.
Okay.
We will be selling them all through the night. We have booksellers lined up to do just that.
And whoever is there can sign your copy. Fantastic. Thank you all so much
Thank you.
for being on the show today. Jenna Harris, Editor-in-Chief of City Voices, a book of monologues by Toronto artists, and www.cityvoices.ca for all the information about the book launch December 19th at Buddies and Bad Times, 12 Alexander Street.